Long-term vision as the supreme advantage in romance. Opening reflection. Passion may ignite the spark, but it's long-term vision that keeps the fire alive without burning you both down. In romantic strategy, just like in war, momentary excitement means little if it leads you into terrain you can't sustain. If you don't know where you're headed, you'll confuse chemistry for compatibility, desire for destiny, and attention for alignment. In this episode, we explore the hidden advantage almost no one talks about in love, the power of having a long-term vision. Not a fantasy, not a script for someone else to follow, but a grounded strategic sense of direction, a map that aligns with who you are becoming and who you cannot afford to become again. Let's begin. 1. Passion without vision is like fire without containment. Think of the early stages of romance like the first moments of a wildfire. There's heat, movement, excitement, expansion, but without boundaries, without a long-term container, that same fire consumes the structure it was meant to warm. This is the difference between romantic momentum and romantic misdirection. Passion without purpose will have you falling for potential instead of patterns. It will have you investing in someone's sparkle without seeing whether their compass aligns with yours. When you lack long-term vision, you are not loving strategically. You are gambling, hoping the other person turns out to be what you need. That is not intimacy. That is emotional roulette. 2. Why so many fall in love without looking ahead? Most people are never taught to date with a long-term lens. They're taught to follow attraction, to react to validation, to chase chemistry. They were raised in environments where short-term relief was prioritized over long-term stability. So when they enter relationships, they're not evaluating compatibility, they're responding to familiarity. If someone makes them feel seen, they stay. If someone triggers their longing, they chase. If someone mirrors their wounds, they confuse it for depth. Without a long-term vision, even intelligent, kind people can spend years climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. 3. What long-term vision actually means in love. Let's be clear. Long-term vision doesn't mean forcing timelines or expecting control. It means you know who you want to become in a relationship and what kind of connection supports that evolution. It means you have clarity on the following. A. Emotional tone. Do I want peace, play, stability, expansion? What is the feeling I want to live inside? B. Relational dynamic. Do I want co-leadership, supportive polarity, deep friendship, family structure? Creative partnership. C. Life path. Do our daily realities and long-term trajectories actually intersect? D. Values and pace. Do we resolve conflict the same way? Do we grow at similar speeds? Are our priorities aligned? Without these clarities, you may find yourself emotionally entangled with someone who was never meant to walk your road. And worse, you might start changing yourself just to make it work. 4. Vision is what protects you from self-betrayal. When you don't have a long-term vision, you are far more likely to justify red flags because you feel so much, stay longer than you should because you've already invested, mistake infatuation for alignment, tolerate incompatible values for the illusion of love. Vision isn't cold, it's self-respecting. It's the internal compass that lets you say no to misalignment even when your heart wants to say yes. It lets you delay gratification for a deeper, more sustainable union. And it gives you the courage to walk away. Not just when things are bad, but when they're good but not right. 5. The strategic role of vision in the courtship phase. When you have a long-term vision, you begin to screen partners differently. Instead of asking, "Do they like me?" You begin asking, do they fit me deeply and sustainably? You don't need to interrogate someone on the first date, but you do observe. You look for alignment in values, not just excitement and energy. You pace the connection so that reality has a chance to emerge. You allow enough space for truth to rise to the surface. And you know that the real indicator of future compatibility is not what they say they want, but how they live. Vision lets you track what matters. It prevents you from being seduced by short-term signals. 6. Long-term vision doesn't kill romance. It deepens it. One of the biggest myths is that long-term thinking kills chemistry. The opposite is true. When two people are aligned in long-term vision, it creates trust, and trust creates depth, and depth creates a more powerful, more grounded form of passion. Not the frantic high of uncertainty, but the steady, charged presence of two people building something real. Intimacy becomes sustainable, love becomes intentional, and connection becomes a source of fuel, not confusion. 7. How to craft your own long-term romantic vision. This doesn't have to be a rigid checklist, but you do need clarity. Take time to sit with these questions. A. Who am I becoming in the next 5 years? What kind of life, emotional habits, environment, and responsibilities will I be shaping? B. What kind of partner would support that, not just match it? This isn't about similarity. It's about compatibility in rhythm, values, and worldview. What are my non-negotiables and which ones are based on fear, not truth? What have you historically tolerated that you won't anymore? What lessons have you earned? D. What would it feel like to be in a sustainable, emotionally intelligent relationship? How does your nervous system want to feel in love? Write your answers down. Then when you meet someone new, you don't adapt your vision to fit them. You see whether they fit the vision you've already committed to. That is power. That is protection. That is strategy. Why most relationships without vision eventually collapse. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The early stages of love are often too good to reveal the truth. Everyone's trying. Everyone's open. Everyone's impressed by each other. But if there is no shared vision anchoring the bond, then as reality sets in, you begin to drift. What felt like chemistry becomes tension. What felt like adventure becomes avoidance. What felt like closeness becomes collapse. You both start reacting instead of building. Because without vision, love becomes reactive, not intentional. That's why long-term vision must be set early, not after commitment, but before investment. 9. How to share your vision without sounding controlling. This is important. Having a vision doesn't mean announcing a 5-year plan to a stranger. It means showing up from alignment, not urgency. You can share your vision gently. This is the kind of life I'm building. I value emotional maturity and long-term partnership. I move with depth, not speed. Your tone matters more than your timeline. You're not saying, will you give me this? You're saying, does this resonate with you? And if it doesn't, you let them go. No convincing, no bending, no dragging someone into terrain they're not meant to explore. Final truth. Vision is the deepest form of self-respect. Most people break their own hearts not because they were lied to, but because they ignored what they already knew. Vision protects you from that. It is the container that keeps you out of emotional quicksand. It gives you the strength to walk alone when necessary, and the discernment to recognize when someone genuinely belongs in your life. It transforms dating from a chaotic search into a strategic filter. And it transforms love from a gamble into a conscious act of creation. So ask yourself, What is the vision that love must be in service to? Because the more clearly you see your future, the more clearly you'll see who's not meant to be part of it. If this resonates with the way you want to approach love, with clarity, depth, and strategic intelligence, subscribe to this channel for more tools like this. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real strategy for real connection. Next episode preview. In the next installment, we'll go deeper into a core strategic skill, understanding your emotional battlefield before you engage. Because without knowing where your own wounds and blind spots live, you'll keep fighting the wrong war, or losing battles that were never yours to begin with.